Good morning, you guys. So today I'm going to be going to meet with Nicole at the P3 Foundation here at the University of Auckland, and P3 stands for Putting Poverty in the Past. And I'm really excited. This is like the first charity of my 52 and 52 trip, and yeah, I just can't wait for them to share with me and you all the great stuff they've been doing. So let's get there.
I'm Nicole and I'm the CEO of P3 Foundation. I've been involved with P3 since I was in high school.
And I'm Bhavya, and like Nicole said, my sister actually founded P3, so I remember being in the first ever meeting, which was just her and a bunch of what I thought were really old cool kids sitting in Starbucks discussing this concept of they were all these bright, young, motivated people, and they had this passion for ending extreme poverty, and they wanted to know how do they make a difference. And I've been acting I'm the CEO now, so it's been good. I've learned a lot, and P3 is awesome.
Okay, so I'm Simon. I just started here actually, so I don't know why I'm starting, but I'm on the side. So yeah, I just graduated from the University of Auckland, and I know Bhavya, who is part of the organisation, and she recommended that I help out and volunteer in P3, and so now I'm the co-lead for the SEED program, which is essentially a program to try and involve high school students in with projects to increase awareness, to do with the eradication of poverty, and to try to get them to think about some of the solutions that we can have in the future, and like how to advocate for change and things like this.
I'm Sarah. I'm the recruitment coordinator at P3 Foundation. I've been with P3 for a couple of months, and I study politics and psychology at university. So as I was getting towards the end of my degree, I was looking for some volunteering roles that I could get involved with that are kind of involved with my interests and also can help me move on professionally and gain some new skills. And something I'm really passionate about is youth engagement and youth, like empowering youth to get more involved with things, because what you find is like a lot of young people, they care so much but they just don't know where to go. So I think P3 Foundation is a really good organisation which helps kind of give those skills and give a platform to those kids that really care about things.
So P3 was started in 2009 by Dr. Divya Dar, who happens to be my sister, and it came out of this idea that young people have a voice and have the energy to make change in society, and we're often, at least in that time 10 years ago, we weren't being utilized in a way, and we had a lot of, I think for her, coming from a health perspective and seeing extreme poverty and the effects that have, was really eye-opening. And she said, you know what, I think New Zealand youth care, and I think there's something we can do about it, which is where P3 kind of initiated from. And in those first couple of years, P3 went from strength to strength. I think, and Nicole mentioned earlier too, that we had about 300 volunteers, a lot of high school engagement, university engagement, and it was a lot about, first it was the Millennium Development Goals, and how until 2015 how we could reach them, how New Zealand could play a part in helping them being reached. And I think P3 did that by doing partnership projects overseas. So we went to Kalimpong. I think one of the winners of our secondary school competition built a water tank in Tonga. So, and these were secondary students who, had to pitch an idea, work with mentors for like 12 weeks, and then we gave them seed money to go do that project. So P3 has always been about investing in youth and helping them make impact in the world. And so, globally we've changed from MDGs to SDGs, and the SDGs we found were more ambitious than us. First, we wanted to end extreme poverty in our lifetime, and they said, we'll beat you, we'll do it by 2030. So that's kind of changed our game and the ambition that we have. And so P3 is a bit smaller now, but nonetheless, it's still just as dedicated to the cause. That's, I think, a little brief history of P3.
Here in P3 we have something that we call the theory of change, which is essentially created so that we're able to meet our vision, which is to end poverty by 2030. But what we do is we created this theory of change, which is to inspire people's hands, hearts, and minds. And we do this through events like the World Changers Conference that Bobby was talking about, and also through the SEED program. So we put together these amazing events to inspire youth to be passionate about whatever they want to be passionate about, being gender issues or ending extreme poverty or anything they like, and really engaging them with the cause and to do something about it. And that's how we engage their hearts and their minds. And then we have other courses or other projects where we go overseas and we partner with other charities in New Zealand to do something more active and something more practical and tangible. Yeah. So in the past we've gone to India, to Kalimpong, to help them
build toilets.
Yes,
sanitation
it was.
project, and I think one of the volunteers was a teacher, so she helped with resources and teaching.
Yeah, so we educated children around there, and we taught them simple things that we take for granted, like washing their hands and things like that. And then a few years later, we had a project called the Plastic Kayak project. And so what we did is we gathered plastic bottles and we created these kayaks, and we took them on the Wanganui River in New Zealand, and for about four days, and we went down the river, down white water. Is it called white water rafting?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they survived, and it was all about making people aware that using plastic wasn't the most sustainable thing. And then we went to Tonga as well, and we encouraged our high school students to create a project to be able to build a well and build water projects over there. And that was really awesome, and that's how P3 does it, and that's how we love to engage people and empower them to do what they want to do. The last CEO went to Kiribati with a group of New Zealanders who were specialised in photography and in video making, filmmaking, and one of them was Jamie McDowell, who's a very popular singer here in New Zealand. And they all went together the whole point of the trip was to collect stories and to make sure that we understood what was happening and how climate change was impacting Kiribati and Kiribati youth. And they were called e-Kiribati, weren't they?
I think so.
And since then we've created a really beautiful relationship with the charities over there. We've every time that they've wanted to share their stories, not only with New Zealand but with around the world, they come to us and they ask us if we can help them somehow to fundraise and to put together a small event to help them get to these other countries, because I think last year one of them had to go to Bonn to the UN, one of the UN climate conferences, and for a New Zealander it's already very expensive to travel outside of New Zealand, but for someone in Kiribati it would be even more outrageous, and so we help them to connect with other charities that could help them get there, essentially. But apart from that, it was a very small project. We were only there for about a week, but it was very inspiring to hear their stories. Yeah,
I think it's just some of the photos are like, it really brings climate change to the forefront. So these are people's homes, salination, like their water supply. I think the lagoon had become
salinated, so they couldn't drink any water. Whenever they wanted to drink water, they had to put sugar in it, because to just make the water drinkable, because it was so salinated that they couldn't drink it on its own. Everything there was imported. They had no products locally sourced because the land was just so affected by climate change.
And I think particularly it hits close to home because, like we said, it's in the Pacific, like they're our neighbours. So if anything, there's even more of a responsibility for us as New Zealanders and as youth to bring it to light and kind of use it as a way, and the Kiribati government have had a really loud voice at international forums of, showing the world that these goals, these SDGs to prevent the temperature rising to 2 degrees and stuff, they have a very real impact on people's lives. And there's even like legal effects of the whole climate refugee issue that will probably come to the forefront as years pass, and if it's not addressed. So that trip was a lot of awareness raising, and
it was a lot of that fit under our theory of change, of engaging people's mindsets and people's hearts, because as Bobby said, it's only a couple of hours away from here, and people from Kiribati are going to be the first refugees due to climate change, and that is horrible. And to think that they can't drink their own water, and we have nice, beautiful water here, and to think that some of them can't go to school, a lot of them have to be working to sustain their families, and a lot of them can't get jobs because there is obviously not much they can do over there. It's really difficult. The CEO from P3 that went last year was telling us that when they spoke to the leader of the Kiribati community over there, told us that they don't even want any more financial donations to Kiribati because there is nothing tangible they can do. What they would like to do is give a future to their people, like more schooling and more education and more resources, rather than just giving them more money. And it's interesting. It's just a very different world over there.
Yeah, so essentially the SEED program is one of the largest programs I think that we do in the P3 Foundation, and the aim is to try to empower New Zealand youth to have a voice when it comes to how we deal with the eradication of extreme poverty. So we have a launch coming up, and then from then on it's workshops and various activities that try to engage students from various high schools around Auckland. And they essentially come, we have presentations, we have activities, we try to educate the students on certain issues, especially to do with the Millennium Goals and things like this. I think last year we did some letter writing to the government to try and sort of teach the students about how to advocate for change. But essentially the main aim of the program is to empower them and to get them ready for when they are in our position, or when they are the leaders of New Zealand and they know what the situation is. I think that the biggest sort of barrier and what I'm doing would probably be attitude, and that's always the hardest thing in this sort of field is people's perceptions and people's sort of predisposition towards trying to tackle poverty. It seems so overwhelming, and so a lot of people just walk away from it or try to pretend it's not there. So I think the biggest thing would be attitude.
I think that New Zealand has a great history of being really radical and taking really strong positions against things. So apartheid, we were really against nuclear proliferation, we were really against. But I think since all of those things, we have that part of our identity that we don't stand for any of that stuff that's going on in the world. But since then we haven't really made any big stances on anything, I don't think, and I think that needs to change, especially not even just outside of New Zealand but within as well. New Zealand has terrible statistics on child poverty, which I think of course you've got to think outside the world, but you've got to think outside of New Zealand, but you've also got to think of your own kind of community, and I think you've got to start there as well. But I think New Zealand needs to take a harder stance on child poverty in New Zealand. something that I would like just the average Joe to know about the issues that P3 deals with is that you don't have to be mega involved in everything. You don't have to be committing to like giving up your job and like just living like a nomad life and just committing yourself 100% to doing things to make a difference. I think you can, in your lives, you can make small changes that make a difference in a big way. So whether that be living sustainably, changing your diet, doing research on the products that you buy and where your money goes. It could just mean doing small donations. It doesn't have to be like hundreds of dollars. It could just be a really simple amount, but small acts of kindness like that, they really add up. And if everyone kind of commits to doing a small change in their lifestyle, that can be really big towards ending poverty and improving the lives of people who are in more vulnerable and less developed nations.
Get in touch with us through p3foundation.org, and we have a platform there where you can sign up and put your details through and tell us what you're interested in, share your story with us, and come join us. And if you just want to have a chat and want to know what we're doing, just flick us a message on Facebook, and we're always replying. Yeah.
Add an asterisk to always, but we'll get better.
I think Facebook says within like a day.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. We'll get to you back within a day.
Whew, you guys, so I am back here at my Airbnb. That was a great little meeting. I did not expect that many people to show up. It was great to hear about all the stuff they're doing. I really hope that you guys will get involved with P3 Foundation, either through donations or volunteering. I'm riding high right now after hearing all the great stuff that they're doing and all the engagement they've got going on with their local community. So I'd like to see you guys all the way across the ocean get involved with them if you guys can. But it is time to throw this video together, and we will see you guys tomorrow for something really fun.